Dude, I have some good news, I have some bad news, and maybe even ugly news.
Yes, and this has to do with truck sales.
Yes. So what we're talking and looking at here is third quarter, Q3 2023, pickup truck sales results for United States. Because pickup trucks are huge here, right?
Well, they're best-selling vehicles here.
And, we want to see where the market is moving. So the good news is actually here. Do you want to start with the good news or the bad
Yeah,
news?
let's start with the good news and a caveat that the numbers that you guys are seeing aren't really affected by the current UAW strike.
Right, because this is Q3, this is through September, so we're not seeing some of the effects of the strike quite yet.
Yes.
But we will be seeing that later.
In the next quarter for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But let's start with full-size trucks. We're talking about half tons, we're talking about heavy duties. They're kind of lumped together because a lot of manufacturers report them together.
And Ford is one of them for sure.
Yeah. So let's look at the numbers. This is third quarter once again. And look at this column. Plus, 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 well, minus, plus, plus, plus. So generally speaking, really good news here.
Especially for one particular company we'll get to at the end of this.
So let's look at combined sales. Ford always says that they're the leader for the last 46,000 years. But when you put together, at least in the full-size segment, the GM full sizes, the GM combined numbers are actually higher.
Yeah, they are. So that's GMC and, of course, Chevrolet.
Yeah. But look at this. If you break it down, Chevy Silverado up 21%. Ford F-Series, together with the Super Duty and the F-150, up 14%.
Sierra.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ram truck.
Yeah, so Ram has dropped 7.4%. That's not a drop in the bucket. In the bucket.
No, but it's really highlighting that Ram is really in trouble.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple reasons I think that we can right out say.
Well, didn't we do a video? We did a video about this a little while ago where we looked at what Ram is doing.
Right.
And they really haven't updated a lot of their vehicles in a while.
Whereas everybody else has.
Yes, because Ford just came out with a refreshed F-150. Even the Silverado has been refreshed a little bit.
The heavy duties have
The heavy duty
yeah.
had heavy refreshments.
Yes, refreshments. but yes, it's
Updates. Tundra is basically brand new for the last couple of years.
Really, it is a very new truck. But here's the kicker. You guys ready for this? Look at the Nissan Titan. Okay, look, there's Nissan Titan.
Yes, here.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Up almost 300%. What?
280.9%. Now, there's a very simple reason for this.
So several months ago, we announced, because Nissan announced, that they're killing the Titan completely.
Yeah.
Because it went away from Canada a little while ago, and now for the United States, they're killing it. And this is effective like next summer.
Yeah.
So what do people do when something is going away?
They hoard them. They go and grab them, especially when there's incentives to do so.
Yeah, and there are some incentives. Actually, up through September, the inventories were building up. There were more used vehicles because people were trading in some vehicles.
Right.
So everything was looking up and up and up until, of course, the strike really hit after that. But, yeah, really good numbers, except Ram truck is really struggling.
Yeah, I have a feeling that'll change when they do a few updates.
So, but in generally, when you look at these numbers, I mean, this is kind of the economy. These trucks are really are very important.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the litmus tests that people are using, pardon me, to establish how the economy is going, because American trucks are huge in the United States.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit, just 1 minute on electric trucks.
Yes.
Because they broke them out.
Yeah, here we go.
So Rivian recently announced their numbers, and they're actually looking up and up. I mean, they're making huge improvements. I mean, sales boosts and production boosts compared to last year.
That is huge,
But they're still losing money.
Exactly.
That was the big story.
Every truck they're building is over $30,000 in loss.
Yeah. So obviously, starting a brand new company, Rivian is learning that it's really, really hard.
Right.
But I think they're doing pretty well. I mean, when you look at some other companies like Bollinger and others who never really made it,
Right.
in this space. Rivian is still fighting.
Yeah, they're starting to become a factor, especially with that many trucks. So that's a good start.
Yeah, this is for 3 months. So they're selling about over 5,000 trucks and SUVs because that's combined.
Right.
A month, which is actually a pretty good number.
For a startup, that's very good.
F-150, something happened here because I think they had a recall or actually kind of a slowdown in their build process for the
And
Lightning.
they increased prices across the board.
Yeah, and then they decreased prices.
Yeah.
They increased them, decreased them, but they're not doing well in the last quarter.
Yeah, 45% down.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, Hummer, remember we were kind of making fun of it because it wasn't really selling at all.
Yeah, there were just a couple hundred built.
Boom! In one quarter, 1,167 Hummers were delivered.
That is plus 183.9%. That is quite an increase.
So it looks like they worked out a lot of their bugs at their factory
Yeah.
and their processes, and they're really starting to pump them out. By the way, side note, there are other electric vehicles like the Lyriq Cadillac and the Blazer EV
Yeah.
are also starting to gain numbers.
Uh-huh.
So that's really important. And then Silverado just came online just like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we're one of the first to actually have one to test.
Yeah, that was amazing. They sold 18.
Okay.
Okay, but are you ready for bad news now?
Okay, hit me with the bad news.
Well, we have to look at the different page because this is the midsize trucks.
And this is really surprising to me, especially because, well, you'll see in a second. Okay.
Well, the king of midsize segment in the U.S. is still the Tacoma.
It is the king, but I have never seen it drop by that much.
Negative 6.5% for the quarter when compared to last year.
Yes.
Right? So let's talk about this a little bit because, I mean, partially, this is not all bad news because the new Tacoma is coming and we know what happens when a new truck is coming.
And that is probably what's going on here.
Probably to some extent. There may be also a cool off in the market, but it's kind of hard to say because a lot of these trucks are actually affected by part shortages or now plant shutdowns
Right.
as well. GM is actually doing okay in this space. They finally worked out some of the issues with the Colorado and Canyon trucks, the new ones, and they're delivering a few more than before, so they're actually doing well. But I haven't seen Tacoma, like you said, take a dip like this.
Yeah.
Almost in my 11-year career here.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't think I've seen them drop that much. But then again, a new vehicle's coming out to replace the
In
old
December.
one.
That's the best information we have.
Yes, exactly. So in addition to what we're seeing, that's very possible that a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to hold off on buying it because the new one's coming.
Yeah, so that could be playing into it. I'm surprised with Nissan, dude.
I am too, especially because they just introduced their
hard body.
Yeah, the hard body special, which is really a trim package. But that's a drop I did not expect.
Yeah. Oh, I need to reorganize it. Sorry, because Chevy Colorado should be up here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. I'll rework this. But Frontier used to be really high on this list.
Yeah.
That's why it's up here in this position. So something is happening. People are losing interest a little bit in the Frontier, and it's still a solid and actually good value truck.
I think
would
it's
say.
an excellent value truck. Yeah.
Okay, Colorado is doing okay. Ridgeline, they've been growing like crazy earlier this year.
Right.
But this quarter, it kind of evened out a little bit, and they lost it a little bit.
Yeah, but because they build at such a small number compared to something like the Tacoma, dropping a couple hundred units means 34%.
No,
sorry,
that's
33%.
Three.
Sorry, 34. I was like, wow.
That's Jeep. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
soon.
But but the Ridgeline is doing okay even by.
Well, look, the Ridgeline is outselling the Frontier. They're outselling the Ranger and the Canyon.
Yep.
So still, even if they're down a tiny bit, they're still outselling the other guys.
And year over year, they tend to increase
Yeah,
quite a bit.
totally.
Yeah, so-
And we'll talk about that next quarter,
Yeah.
right, when that comes. I'm really bummed about this. Jeep Gladiator's huge
yeah,
decrease.
that's the 34%.
Yeah.
I think it's pricing part of it.
Yeah.
then-
And also stagnation a little bit.
Yes.
It's a little bit older now.
Yes, it is.
They just refreshed it, but I don't know if they did enough. Almost.
No, they didn't. And there's
Yeah.
no 4xe, and people are complaining about that. And all Jeep is like, oh, just wait. No, there's quite a bit going on there to where they're not being competitive, frankly. Ford Ranger. Let's look at that.
Well, this has been going on almost all year.
Damn.
They're down 40.7%. There are several things going on.
Yeah.
Slightly older product.
Yeah.
It's built on the same factory as the Bronco, and the Bronco is super hot.
So they're going to throttle down some of the
That's
production.
what we've been seeing a little bit. This is kind of our view, not Ford statements.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, they shut down that plant
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
So for the strike.
That doesn't help. Although, once again, we don't think these numbers are entirely
Not totally affected by that, but partially.
And in addition, there is a new Frontier coming out. A new Ranger coming out. And the new Ranger could be another reason why people are cooling off and holding back, saying, look, this new one's coming out. I don't want the old one.
Yeah, new design of interior, exterior,
almost
all
the
that
entire
stuff.
truck is new.
And the Canyon, well, it's kind of maintaining what it's done. So, but the total market is down about 11% for mid-sizers.
That's not great.
And I was predicting a hot year. Remember a year ago, I was saying stuff like, we have a lot of new product coming online, Colorado, Toyota, Ford. But I guess I didn't see a lot of the effects.
Actually, there is something. A lot of people have written into us or called us or talked to us and said the same thing. Why am I buying a mid-size truck for about the same price that I'd get a full-size truck?
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that is part of what we're seeing here.
And we saw that on the previous page.
Exactly.
But also they're buying smaller trucks.
That's right. So these really expensive mid-size trucks
are losing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So people are buying these much more affordable small trucks, and empty spot here because we expect a couple different automakers to fill this spot.
Hopefully Ram will come in here with the Rampage.
Up 83.4%
for the Maverick. Yeah.
That's insane.
So Maverick is
And you
almost
can't even buy them.
Yeah, Maverick is almost selling as many as Chevy Colorados. So, I mean, those are the type of numbers we're seeing here with the Ford Maverick. The Santa Cruz is still, 5% up. That's great for them. I mean, not as huge gains as, of course, the Maverick.
But it's also built in much smaller quantities, and it's nowhere near. Yeah,
and it's a little bit more pricey, actually, if you look at some of the options.
Believe me, I know. Yeah. So, but that's good news regardless across the board for baby trucks, and that will be a good indicator for the future.
So those are some of the ugly parts, I think, are here.
Really is for the mid-size trucks.
Jeep Gladiator and the Ford Ranger, that's quite ugly. Frontier is also not happy.
No, which actually might be good news for you guys. So right now, the dealers are feeling some of this, and especially if they're freaking out about the striking. So maybe go into your dealer on some of those trucks that are a little bit underperforming. You may be able to cut a deal.
Especially if a truck's been on a lot for a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months. The dealers have automatic systems that they'll discount those trucks that have been sitting around a little bit.
Exactly.
So you can come in, swoop in, and pick up some good value.
Yeah, pick up that pickup.
Well, thanks for joining us. We do this almost monthly, maybe quarterly.
Just about, yep.
So thanks for joining us, and that's the current state of the truck industry.